What's going on, YouTube? Okay. What's going on, YouTube? In this video, we will be discussing how to deploy a full stack React application to Railway. Now, one thing that I want to know, speak on real quickly. My name is Timon Beck. I'm a software developer with over 5 years of experience at this point. And on this channel, I strive to teach people to break into tech, and especially with the wave of AI, how to get things up and out into the ether, out into the world, out off of their brain and into the atmosphere. And so if you like content like that, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. But anyway, in this video, we're going to talk about, I just made a quick CRUD application. I named it my digital recipe box, and it does all of the CRUD functionality. I can create new recipes. As you can see, my test recipe that I created. I can edit recipes, test recipe too, and make those changes, and they will persist in the database. I can delete recipes, go ahead and delete that, etc., etc. And we deployed this already on Railway. But what I'm about to do is go ahead and show you how easy it is to get something like this set up and online, because I can go to this website and visit this URL and it's actively online. But anyway, so the first thing I want to do, I will say in these videos, I won't really go into a lot of the code. Those will be in other types of videos. These will be more so Railway specific, deployment specific videos. Okay, so now here, one thing I do want to take a note of, or I want you to take a note of, is when you're deploying your full stack applications, you have different type of repos. You have like mono repos where everything's in one repo, like this one, where I have both my front end and back end in the same repository. How you have some where you can deploy your front end on a different repository, your back end on a different repository, etc., etc. But this one's monolithic because this is more so example. And so I just want to point out the file structure. Now, this repo will be on GitHub. I have a link in the description. You'll be able to download it, play with it. Hell, if you want to slap log in and sign up, you can do that and experiment with it. But and it'll come with all of the README, give you setup instructions and everything, as well as a detailed step-by-step of how to get everything set up with the deployed file and how to run everything, as well as the digital recipe and what we will be doing in this particular video. But anyway, so once you have your completed project down and up and running, the very first thing you want to do is, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this entire setup so that you can see that I'm doing this live. So we're gonna just delete everything. We're gonna deploy those, and then to delete, you have to give permission for Railway to do certain things, and since that's a destructive action, that's one of those things. So while this processing is going to take a little bit to get that fixed, and as we'll see here shortly, this is not found anymore once I hit that refresh, because we took it down. The train has not arrived at its station. All right, so it's applying those changes at this time. So, it's going to take a little bit second to delete. So what we'll do here, when you get into Railway, you'll log in. If you don't have a Railway account, you can go ahead and sign up. I think they give you like a hobby account to try out for a little while. It's like a $5 credit or something. You can do a hobby plan. It's like $5 a month. They have a pro plan, which that's what I'm on, and it's $20 a month. And it's because I do a lot of tinkering and I deploy actual real things now. But so it's well worth it. I used to do Hostinger and all of that, but it's a lot of time, and so I just like to get things out now. So anyway, when you're inside of your dashboard, you'll be able to create your workspace or what have you, and you'll hit this new button, and that's going to let you create a new project. But anyway, let's go back. Since we already have our project, we're just going to click this empty one. Now, the first thing that you want to do anytime you're setting up your full stack applications is to deploy your database. And so in Railway, it's as easy as clicking the database. And in our instance, we're going to use Postgres. It's going to spin us up a Postgres instance. And now in the back, this is running Docker. It's going to run a Docker container with a Postgres instance in that container, et cetera, all ready to go right now with all of the variables and settings to go. Now, if you look at this Postgres instance, and you can actually watch it as it's being built, it'll show you like the Docker image being created, et cetera. Then you'll have access to all of its variables, which, as you'll see shortly, will come in handy, because here in the code, it's one thing that I did want to show. Here in the code, when we go to our database and we look at our configuration, all right, not that, our configuration file, and we look at how our database is set up. These are the instance variables or the environmental variables that we need to establish our connection. And so you'll see we have our PG user, PG host, PG database, PG password, PG port. All of those are the necessary environmental variables that we will need to ensure that we can connect and run our application. And so you have access to all of that here. And then let's go back here. Now we've successfully deployed our Docker container with our Postgres instance. And if you want to get into like Linux or learning Docker and things of that nature, I'll probably have stuff on that in one of these corners at some point, but it's not on my channel yet. But I definitely will dive into Docker and things of that nature. But anyway, outside of that build process, you now have a running instance of a Postgres database that you can use for your full stack deployment. Now, the very next thing that we'll do is we'll import our repos that we need for this particular project. So you can either go ahead and hit that create button, or a lot of times I just right click and then you hit GitHub repo. And now normally you have to, if you haven't been through this process, you probably won't have authorized Railway to have you give the ability to view your repo. So you will hit this configure GitHub app and you'll just go through, find your repo, et cetera, find it, go through the process. It's not hard, and it'll set you up to bring your project within your working dashboard. And so while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to select this repo. And now, since we are in our backend, and I told you earlier that our project is set up in a way where we have both our front end and our back end in the same repo, to ensure that we're able to deploy from the right location, what we need to do is go inside of this deployment box. We'll go and visit our settings, and then we're going to add a root directory. And for our back end, since this is our back end, we're going to just add that root directory of /backend, so that Railway knows that when it deploys this repo, it's going to, on the back end of this particular program, it's CDing into that folder and then running whatever the scripts are to get it started. But anyway, so we're going to save that. We're going to make sure we have that set up. And then what we're also going to set up, we're going to go back to these environmental variables. Now, earlier I told you that we needed to ensure that we added these 5 particular variables to the program to ensure that we can deploy. So we can do that here. And since we already have them, we don't have to go and write anything down. We don't have to remember any passwords or any of that. The way that Railway is set up, you can literally try to add the variable, click this little add reference drop down, and you can find those variables here for you. So I know I'm going to need PG data. We're going to add that one. I know I'm going to need PG host. We're going to add that one. We're also going to need PG user. Add that one. We need PG password. We're going to add that one. I want to say we need port. Host. We need PG host. Like, oh, I already have PG host. What am I missing? User host, database, password, port. Oh, did I put port on there? User host. No, I did not. So we need port. And was that everything that I needed? Let's check it out. To ensure. What I got? Database. I need database, not data. All right, so we can delete that one. All right, so those are our variables that we need: database, port, user, host, and password. Database, port, user, password, host. All right, cool. So now that we've established those, as you can already see, two things have happened. Railway has already signified to us that this database is connected to this running service with this purple indicating line here. Also, we can go ahead and deploy and apply those changes, and we can see the activity. We got some. So what happens anytime you deploy a repo to Railway? Railway goes through the process of building it. It runs whatever build scripts that you have within your package JSON, which let me show you here. So since we're running the backend in our package JSON, it has this start script, which is what it would use to run this. Same thing with the front end. Package JSON. You have a start script here, React start script, etc. And then I also have my package JSON. My main was set up in a way to where, because I ran into issues earlier and it was trying to build from the main package JSON. So I had to set up to where I would CD into the front end and then do the npm install, because that was just a bug that I ran into. And so, like I said before, this GitHub repository will be available for download in case you want to tinker with the code, or maybe run into some bug issues and you want to see what that I do that fixed it. And so, that'll be available. What did I do? Closing out my, it's fine, I don't need it. All right, so anyway, so the very next thing we'll do after deploying our backend, which we had a successful deployment, we're now going to go ahead and deploy our front end. So we're going to do the same thing. I right click, but you can hit this create button if you want. We're going to deploy from a repo. We're going to pick that same deployment, but now because of this, the front end, we have to do two things. Similar to the first time, we have to go here and notify Railway that our build path for this particular piece will be the front end. Now, another thing that we have to do, because we are running a React application, for us to connect our front end and back end with each other, we do need to add an environmental variable, which is the React app API URL. And so it's literally React app API URL as the name, React app API URL. And then the URL value for this is found in Railway. So let me show you where that's located. We don't even have a value there, and that's fine. So you'll go back to your recently deployed backend. Okay. You'll hit the settings button and you'll scroll down and you'll see this generate domain. Your generator domain, and right now if you click this, your backend is running and you see this message with the timestamp, and it's telling you, because this is how your backend is running. I mean, this is the endpoint that shows inside of Railway when you click it, so it's running and everything's active. So this particular URL, you can copy and paste it there, or you can copy and paste it here. Either way, that's going to be the value for your variable. So let's go back in here. We can edit that and we'll add that URL. Now you do want to ensure that you add the https:// to this particular URL. Otherwise you will not be able to communicate with your backend from your front end. All right. We're going to go ahead and save that particular variable. And then let's verify all of the rest of our settings here. It looks like we've deployed. Oh no, that's old. Here, let's see, variable. We have our React app API URL. And you really don't have to do anything with any of this stuff here. Now, if you did have your own build commands or your own deploy commands, you can set those here. But I have a lot of that already set up inside of the project. So I'm gonna go ahead and redeploy this. And it's going to take a few minutes to finish building out, but that's pretty much it. Now we're going to make sure and ensure that this actually works. Oh, I actually need to bring up my, look at that. I haven't played my game in a minute. I actually need to bring up my project again because I want to make a change to show you that this happens in real time. And that way you'll understand the power of being able to deploy your React apps on a platform such as Railway that gives you almost instantaneous feedback on your changes. So let's go here. Let's see, it's still building. But while it's building, I'm going to go ahead and find something in the front end of our code that we'll modify. So let's look inside of our source and our components. And we'll look at our main HTML. All right, so let's go down here. We see where we have, say, like all recipes, add recipes, my digital recipe box. So we're going to make a change to some of these here just while we're waiting on the build to finish up. Deployment in progress, and the build normally takes, I mean, it was a smaller project, anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes. Normally anything over that, you're probably going to run into some build errors. Now with larger projects, you have more test cases to go through, you have more environments or services to connect and all of that, so it takes a little while, more dependencies to go through. Here we go, and we have deployment, a successful deployment. Now I do want to show you a change here, or show you a quick. All right, so we're live. And we're going to generate us a URL or domain. And normally these default to 8080. And if it doesn't default, then type in that 8080 and it'll do that for you. And now our project is deployed on Railway. Okay. And so we see that our project is deployed, and I wanted to show you a quick change. Oh, that's not the one I'm looking for. Now we mentioned my digital recipe box, which is here at our header, as well as all recipes and add recipe, which are our buttons over here. So we're going to make some changes here. My digital recipe box during the video, right? And then all recipes are delicious, right? And then you can add recipes if you want. Okay, we're gonna save that. Now that we've saved that, we're gonna pull our terminal up. We're gonna see what we got going on here. We're gonna add that. Commit -m, and we're just gonna say test commit for YouTube. Test commit for YouTube. All right. And then we're going to check our get status here. All right. We'll get push. All right. And now I do want to show you. Now we're pushing to our remote repository, right? And so Railway will automatically initiate a new build. And if you hadn't noticed, it automatically builds for both the front and the back, because since it's the same repo, the system already understands that both of these are working together. And so it already has the same main file or main repo, source repo. So anytime a change happens, it already knows, hey, I probably should check this. You know, and I could change this and modify this to say, hey, if it was or maybe I can't. Yeah, no, branch connected to production. Changes made to this, blah, 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 blah. I probably could set this up to be only front end specific, but I'm not sure, and I'm not going to try to test it on the video. But what we do see here, we see our back end is already successfully built. And now our front end has also deployed successfully. And now, because of that, we were offline with our new changes, but if we refresh here, wait, we're not online yet. Let's see. Oh, there we go. What was that? Oh, that was the old one. Okay. So yeah, now we see my digital recipe box during the video. All recipes are delicious. Add the recipe if you want. So anyway, that pretty much wraps up this video. If you like content like this, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. And if you don't, hey, just save the video and come back to it when you need it again, because you will. I'm gonna probably in the next couple of videos make anywhere from 5 to 10 more videos just specifically on railway deployments, whether it's with React, whether it's with TypeScript, whether it's with React and TypeScript, whether it's in JavaScript, next.js, maybe some Python, maybe some Django. It really depends. I'm definitely going to do some Java videos and some Docker videos deploying all on Railway. So I love Railway. I really do. And if you have love for it as I do, because I did a lot of other things to get to this point, you'll understand. But thank you. And until the next one, peace.